Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So I'm recording this podcast episode in a hotel room in Calgary, Alberta. I'm here now with my oldest son, Tyson, who is doing a program called the Davis Method. And so we've come to realize that Tyson, who's 7 and in grade 2 now, just simply doesn't learn the same way as other kids. And in going through some of this with my friend Jill and her daughter's kind of having similar stuff, we've realized that Tyson really has what's considered a dyslexic brain. So dyslexia isn't just the flipping of the letters. What's interesting about dyslexia is that it initially was described to be children and adults that just, they have a different way of seeing the world. And when dyslexia was first kind of introduced, the first term, it was like those that have a genius brain. Now, this isn't not to, pat myself on the back of how smart and amazing my son is, although he certainly is. But it means that he learns differently than most other kids. And so this is where the challenge lies in school, because there's one way of teaching them how to read and how to learn and sit still and all this kind of stuff. And for a kid like Tyson, he doesn't thrive in that environment. So it's gotten to this point, and so we're starting him through this program. He's on his second day. And after the very first morning, Tyson was pushing back against his teacher, Stacy. Basically, it was one teacher / facilitator the entire week. They go in the morning from 8 to 11, break for an hour at lunch, and then go in the afternoon from noon until 3. And so the first 2.5 hours, Stacy said, were really great. And then as soon as he comes up against something that is difficult, he just shuts down, right? A lot of people are this way. I don't get it. Starts to become an issue for Tyson of self-esteem. And for him, then that comes back as defiance. I'm not going to do this. This is stupid. I can even say, buddy, iPad's going to go away. We're going to get rid of this. We're here. We've traveled all the way from BC. I'm thinking, dude, you have no idea all the arrangements I've made, invested in this program because I believe in it. And, and took time away from work to be here with you, Tyson, so we can really help you best learn how to work with your brain, because you're the most amazing brain. We just got to find a better way for you to know how to use it. And this is what they're teaching you. And so when we broke for lunch, Stacy was saying to me, listen, we got to figure out, Tyson has to decide whether he wants to come back. Now, my first thought was the kid's coming back. I don't give a rat's ass what he says. We did not just get on a plane, come down here and spend the next 5.5 days in Calgary to do this. And just because you don't feel like it, even though we've had several discussions about it leading up to it, and Tyson, would you like to learn how to read better? And yeah, I really want to do it, and all this stuff. It's it's a no. And I know it was just simply her way of saying, listen, it has to be his decision to do this. In other words, you can't force him to do something he doesn't want to do. I got that. So, we went for lunch. He would didn't even want to walk. It's a block to walk to where there was a restaurant. We're going to head for lunch. I don't want to go back. I want to go back to, he keeps calling the hotel the condo, because people stay in condos when we often go on holidays, and especially in Maui. I want to go back to the condo. I'm no, buddy, we're going to go get some lunch. We're going to go back. And, he's kind of having a bit of a meltdown. And then I can tell, too, he's emotionally exhausted. I pick up my big boy, he's 7. I'm carrying him. As we're walking to the restaurant, I'm talking into his ear. So imagine him, so I'm holding him, his head's on my shoulder. I just said, Tyson, there are times in life when things are difficult. They're hard to do. It feels like we don't know what to do. And those are the exact same things that we have to actually do. It's okay if things are hard. This is how we get better. It's okay if things are difficult, buddy. There is always a solution. Now, I don't know how much of his 7-year-old brain this is really leaking into. I'm going to start planting the seeds, as I have from when he's been a little guy. But there was no way that I was going to let him walk away from a difficult experience. Think how many adults do this, right? Things are difficult. I don't want to do that. Oh, that's uncomfortable. I don't want to have that conversation. I don't want to try that. What if I fail? What will people think? See, this is the time now for you to be teaching your children these things. If you don't have children, sister, you are maybe an auntie, or you've got friends who you're present in their kids' lives. Like, these moments matter. It's a crazy time in parenting where there's so much this whole experience and idea of wanting to take your children's pain away. Like, everybody gets a ribbon when they participate. It's okay if you don't win, because everybody's a winner. And if something's difficult, we're just going to take you out of it and put it into something comfortable. Let me fix that for you, right? The whole notion of helicopter parenting, like hovering over the kids to make sure everything's okay. It's crazy. I mean, I didn't grow up this way. And we can only compare our childhood, right, to the way that we see with our kids and go, well, that never did it when I was a kid, so therefore it must be okay. And in some points, in some things like, well, I grew up on, let's say if you grew up on sugar and like, oh, my parents beat me and like, I'm totally fine. It's like, okay, wait a second. That shit doesn't really fly with me. But what does fly with me is learning this message of resilience, right? Of when you get knocked down to get back up. That when you have something that's difficult, as uncomfortable as it is, that you do that thing anyways, that you take a step into that place where you don't know. Where we start to teach our children that the void in a place that we don't know what that is okay to be in. That you don't have to have the whole game figured out. That will never happen. And so as Tyson and I went to lunch, and we're talking, he got a little bit of iPad game, we're having our food, and we're talking and stuff, and I'm thinking, how am I going to get this kid back here now? Like, I'm literally at my wit's ends. And on top of that, you can hear my voice right now. My body's going through something, it's going through a healing right now, as is Tyson. And so we're in, a different place and not at home. He's missing daddy and his little brother, even though he fights with him all the time back home, but he's missing his little brother now that he's away from him, and our 2 dogs and our home and the ocean and his friends at school and everything. And then we're going through this stuff, and I'm like, how can I get through this little guy? And so I simply chose to act as if. So just like he's going through a difficult time, I'm in that moment going through a difficult time of not like, how can I convince my son, but how can I show him? What are the words that I need to say? What is my way of being? And I'm like, listen, I got to lean into the challenge I have right now, and I need to walk in this place that I don't know what's going to happen in the next hour. Because see, this is my son who's been kicked out of summer camps this year. 3 or 4. This is the kid who I'm constantly talking to teachers about. He is having, quote, behavioral problems in school, even though they don't understand the learning is tied into the fucking behavior. That the reason he's acting out is because he doesn't understand. That the reason that he's doing these things is because he doesn't feel adequate. That the reason he's not paying attention is because he's not being taught the way that his brain works. They don't get that. That's okay. That's why we took matters into our own hands and decided to bring him here. One of the greatest gifts and lessons you can teach your children is resilience. Life isn't about everything being easy. Life isn't about taking away the pain. There are gems and gifts and lessons in this. Just like my son taught me this lesson in this moment to share with you. That seeing that, wow, you know what? I've been living my life this way for a while, and I forgot how uncomfortable that is to be in an uncomfortable place. That I have somewhat gotten used to, I'll use those words loosely, quote unquote, used to being uncomfortable, because I know that growth and the things I need to see are in the shit, are in pain, are in uncomfortable. And my beautiful boy taught me this message back to me. And I get to teach it back to him. And you get to teach it to your children, sister. This is important. Resilience, adapting, getting knocked down, getting back up. It is everything. Do you know how many people, once they get knocked down, they go, oh, I guess it's just the way my life is? It's just the way it is. I can't do anything about it because my mom was this way and my sister's this way and life is this way. And I'm a woman and of a certain ethnicity and I'm a certain age and I'm like whatever. We create all these excuses and reasons and lies as to why we're not able to get back up. And why we somehow think that we're supposed to be attached and we hold on and we hug tightly to our bodies, that label of victim, and don't understand that in those greatest times is the opportunity to create such massive growth, such incredible potential, such amazing possibility for you to see the power that you possess inside of you that you will never know if you stay the fuck down, if you avoid things that are uncomfortable. That's how this happens. This is a life of more. And you have the chance to teach it to your children. So here's your more tip for today. If you are a parent, and if you are not, I want you to teach this lesson to your kids. You share with them a story that you've gone through of something difficult that you've done and how you got back up and you did it anyways. And maybe you got knocked down again and you got up again and you kept going. And you got knocked down again and you got up and you kept going again. And what you learned from that experience and you share that with your child. Stories teach. Why do you think I share a story with you every single podcast episode, sister? No one cares about research and data. Who cares? Let's talk about real. So you share that real story within the next 24 hours to your child or a child that you know that you were close to in your life. Maybe you're a teacher. You share that with the kids in your class. Maybe it's a neighborhood kid. Maybe it's your friend's child, but you teach them that. You share with them that story. That is it. And that is a big thing for you to do and begin to teach a child. Because see, I am somewhat doing the work of helping you sisters to see once you've been through all this stuff, right? Now we have to try to like unbrainwash and reprint inside of you the potential, the possibility that you have to be powerful in your life. Imagine if children learn this from the beginning. Wow. That's what I'm teaching my kids. And you potentially do the same, sister. Now listen, it has come across that there are not very many of you that actually sign up for my newsletter. So I send out a message, podcast information, new programs I'm releasing, thoughts, videos, free trainings every single day in the Women Wanting More newsletter. And there's a huge chunk of you that are not on it. So here's what I want you to do right now. Go to drkarenosburn.com. That's drkarenosburn.com. You're going to see the opt-in for the newsletter. You will also get the More For program at the same time. And in addition, so do that so you can get the newsletter. Sister, I want to stay in touch with you here. Come on, help me help you. Remember Jerry Maguire? Help me help you. The newsletter is where you stay connected. I appreciate, and I'm so happy you're listening to this podcast right now, but if you don't stay connected in other ways, you will not get the full potential of this movement with Women Wanting More. So drkarenosburn.com to be able to sign up for the newsletter, daily newsletter. In addition, sister, I want you to share up this podcast with one other woman that you know in your life that needs to hear this message. You get this podcast for free. I'm happy to give it to you. Now it's your turn to give it back to somebody else. Share this podcast episode up with someone else that you know that needs to hear this message today. So I will talk the next episode, sister. A life of more. It's just one step away from you doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.